Good morning. If you don't know me, my name is Adam Carroll. You get up there? All right. They usually don't let me talk. I'm not used to one of these. My name is Adam Carroll. I'm one of the trustees here at Christ Central Church. We've been discussing some things to implement on how to minimize the spread of germs and person-to-person contact type stuff within the church. And I'm just going to go over some of those with you. I'll try to be brief. I know some other people, I think, have some things to talk about. First thing you may have noticed, there wasn't any coffee out here this morning. We're eliminating coffee and food, drink stuff from the outside coming in. That area is pretty good hot spot for germs anyway, so we're eliminating that temporarily. This is all temporary, hopefully until the coronavirus stuff blows over. Greeters, there won't be greeters at the doors like you're used to seeing them, just to keep down handshakes and passing of bulletins, stuff like that. Greeting time during the service, we won't be doing that. Bulletins and printed information such as calendars and stuff, we won't be doing that. That information can be found on the church website, Facebook page, email, if you're here, up on the screens. What else? The nursery, we decided to take all the toys out of the nursery. Kids are going to find germs, kids are gross. But what we're going to do there is just snack in a movie, basically. So hopefully they'll keep their hands to themselves and, hope for the best. We'll all pray for Tori in the meantime. The bathrooms, Kelton has already been working hard to, not that he doesn't clean this stuff anyway, but he's been taking extra precautions and extra care to clean the handles of the toilets, the sinks, the locks on both sides of the stall doors, the doors going into the bathrooms, pretty much everything. And he's been doing a great job with that. Same thing in the kitchen. He's been cleaning cabinet handles, sinks, all that. So if you see Kelton, let him know you appreciate his hard work. No name tags for the time being. There's one thing the offering plates. If you notice when you came in, they're set up at each door. That's to prevent everybody having to touch the same plates that comes down. As you leave, you can put your offering in the plate. You can do it when you come in. Next week they'll probably still be there. Ideally, and somebody else may mention this in a minute, but you can submit your offering via text or online. That'll prevent any physical money or envelopes from changing hands and just keeping down on the germs. So that's the preferred method, but if you have it here, just drop it in the plate, and there will be a lead team member. We realize these offering plates are in prime grab-and-go position, so there will be a lead team member at or near each station just to keep an eye on it and answer any questions. Is that enough for you, anything? I'll be here through the second service. If y'all have any questions or comments, just find me and let me know. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Let me first say that I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical as to what we would show up and find this morning in light of all the Facebook posts and people canceling and everything. So let me just say that I'm tickled to death to see all of you here, and I'm excited to worship with all of you this morning. I hope you share that sentiment. If you don't, you can let me know. It'll be okay. So anyways, I wanted to just give you a heads up on as far as future services and some things that will be some things that we'll be canceling, some things we'll be doing on a week-to-week basis. So one of your questions is probably, okay, what's going to happen with future Sundays? We're here today. What about next Sunday? We have not adopted a policy that says we're just going to cancel everything for the foreseeable future. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to monitor the situation throughout the week, and on Wednesday, we will come to you, we'll communicate through email, through Facebook, through whatever means we can, and on Wednesday, we'll say, hey, yes, we're having church on Sunday, or no, we are not. We felt like doing that gives us an ability to respond to what's current as opposed to responding to what we think may be. So that's kind of the way that we're going to approach that. So that means that you need to be very diligent about checking and keeping an eye on Facebook. Not that you already don't, Facebook, email, those kinds of things, because those are the primary ways that we'll be communicating and you can stay informed on this issue in particular and a lot of other things as well. There's no Sunday school. We felt like that was a necessary measure because, again, in here we all get to kind of space out as we like to. In Sunday school, it's a little bit more close, a little bit more confined and that kind of thing. So if you, in your Sunday school class, if you still want to find a way to share with each other and grow together, find one of us as lead team members. Come talk to me, come talk to Andrew, and we'll give you some ideas as to some things that you guys can do together via email, text, however you want to do that. So, or I mean, you don't even have, if you want to do something yourselves, find something yourselves. We just want to encourage you to do that, because just because we're not meeting here for Sunday school doesn't mean that that time is not vital for your life and your faith. So keep that in mind. And I guess maybe that's the overarching thing within all this is just because we're doing some things differently doesn't mean that your faith journey and your walk is any less important. It's just we've got to figure out some different ways to continue on that path as we move forward, considering the circumstances. So that's Sunday school, and that's Sunday that we'll let you guys know about. Wednesday nights, for now, we're also going to put a pause on. I don't want to say put a stop, just put a pause on those things. And again, that'll be something that we'll continue to communicate to you guys as we feel it's okay to bring those things back. We'll start doing that. So we didn't want to just say a complete ban of this, that, or the other. We certainly respect other churches who have made those decisions, and but for us, we felt like this was the best way to move forward. Does that cover everything as far as that goes? Okay, really quick, Mom, if you want to come and share a little bit about the food pantry. Yes, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday night. Wednesday we'll announce and let you know what the service will be for that weekend.
We've had quite a bit of discussion about the food pantry. It's due to be this week. We feel like the people need it, especially during this time that they need it. So we're going to try to make some adjustments. The plan for now is that we'll meet at 9 o'clock Tuesday to do the bagging. We're not getting a truck this time because we already had enough canned foods and meat and stuff here that we didn't really need a truck. So we really had not planned on getting a truck anyway. So we're not going to have a truck, but we have enough stuff that we can give them a good bag of food for this time. Then on Wednesday, so the bagging will be 9 o'clock Tuesday. We'll have everything set up for you. Wednesday, what we're planning on doing is doing a drive-through. Now, we've done this before for like the produce drop, but the people will drive through the portico and we'll just hand them a bag of food. Excuse me, they won't get out of their cars. We'll just hand them. They won't get to pick. They'll just get what they get, okay? But we do feel like this will be necessary. There's a few other little details that we're going to be working out with the food bank tomorrow. We will be talking to the food bank tomorrow. If for some reason they tell us that we can't do it, period, but we'll let you know. But I think they will, as long as we do it through as a drive-through.
I guess it's my time. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tim Reed, and I want to talk to you a little bit about how we can give financially to the church. Adam alluded to it a little bit, but there's 3 ways that we see. There's a slide. David, can you give us that slide? 3 ways. The first course, like you normally do here at church, the offering plates are here at the entrances of each door there, and you can drop those in. You can mail it into the church if you'd like to do that during the week. You can go to your mobile phone and text text CCRBC to 77977, and that's push pay. And you can go to that, and it's real easy to use. It tells you, exactly what to do, and it goes right straight into your account for you, or in our account from your account. Or you can go to the ChristCentralChurch.org, which is our website, and follow the directions on that. So you can see those on the slide there. I know that's a little convoluted the way I gave it to you, but text 27777, and you can text CCRBC, and it pulls it up, and it pulls up the push pay website. Thank you.
Tim talked about the ways we continue giving and supporting. I wanted to add just a little bit about the importance, the necessity of continuing to give and support. Our finances are vital to this church. The support of this church must go on. And even though we may not be attending the ways we normally attend and doing the activities and the things we normally do, please, 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 search your heart, search your checkbooks, and let's continue to support the church financially, because our bills do go on, the staff goes on, the mortgage goes on, regardless of coronavirus. So y'all please step up and help us through this rough patch. Thank you.
So for many of you will know that we've talked in the months past about shifting the way that we lead here at Christ Central Church from a traditional United Methodist model where we have committees, but we have burned that term in effigy here. We don't use the term committee anymore because we not only are changing the way that we operate, but we change the way that we talk about that as well. And so many of you have heard us refer to the lead team, or you've seen emails that are signed off in the salutation from the lead team. This isn't everybody, but this is the lead team. So if you have any question about anything that comes moving forward in terms of, hey, we thought about this, or did you guys think about that, or are you having conversations about this, please burn these faces on your minds because they will be the people to have conversation with. If you have any concerns that, or there's gaps that you feel like we as a church aren't addressing, then please communicate it with the lead team. Any one of these can bring, and we have a forum to vet questions and have conversation to address any concern that you have from there. And I would also beseech you as a church family that if you have margin in your prayer schedule, also burn these faces in your mind and pray for them. Because like we were having a conversation yesterday, this is the textbook definition of an adaptive problem. There's no right answers. The situation goes minute by minute, hour by hour, and people, even those of us who serve in the local church, have to make decisions that there's no clear-cut answers to. As I said yesterday, we have literally marched off the map. And so there's no guidebook. And so we, if anything, continue to support your church with your prayers, your presence, your gift, your service, and your witness. And remember those that are in elected leadership in your church as they continue to lead us on the way forward. So anybody, anything that we left undone that you want to read? Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Any other things? Anybody? Marty? Sure. Yep, and we'll have a quick conversation about that in just a few minutes about some emerging opportunities just based on the realities that are in our community, and we'll visit that in just a minute. So not to be any further ado, anything that we haven't put out to you, just be, again, diligent, Facebook, social media, your emails, to make sure that you can stay caught up in any information that we need to communicate to you, and that you can communicate that to one another. If you don't see somebody, call them, text them, keep your church family informed as well. So as we get prepared to worship this morning and do the business at hand, to celebrate the God of all creation and what he means not just to us individually, but what he means to the world. And for he has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of peace and a spirit of hope, and that this too shall pass, and that he is still good and he is still God. And we will worship him this morning. Would you join me as we pray together? Father, we celebrate the fact that you've given us an opportunity to be in your house this morning. And God, we thank you for those who have dedicated so much of their time in the past few days to praying and thinking and studying, and to help us be as safe and as cautious, yet as gospel-oriented and as hopeful a people as we can be. God, we confess to you that that's a difficult balancing act, but that's not news to you. For God, you've managed to balance the impossible and overcome it all. And so, Father, we worship you because if we follow your lead, whatever happens in the end, it'll be right. We trust in that. Father, be in our midst this morning, be in our conversations going forward, and remind us, God, that you have not given us a spirit of fear, that you have adopted us as sons and daughters, that we might call on you in the name above all names. And that name is Jesus, and it's his name we'll worship this morning. All God's people said, amen.
Pointed to just a minute ago about Kevin mentioned a couple of opportunities that may exist in the not too distant future relative to, we just don't necessarily know everything that we're going to encounter. And so for many things, for many of you who have been around for a while, you know that we kind of focus on this whole idea of 8 to 15 people in our life that God has strategically and supernaturally put in our sphere of influence because he's trying to connect with them and reach them, and that we are the bridge in which God uses to reach those folks. And that doesn't change even in situations like now. And in fact, the argument that I would make for you is that it probably enhances our ability to connect with our 8 to 15 now. So many people in your 8 to 15 in the next few days, since, and all of them left, or most of them that are in school, well, no, there's a couple of you, so I expect to hear a cheer now. Since your AEA week, your spring break's going to be extended by a week and a half. But there are many parents who have children that will be at home that they had planned on them being in school, and they're going to have to make some really tough decisions in the days ahead. They're going to have to make some tough decisions about child care. They're going to have to, in some regards, make some tough decisions about whether or not they can actually go to work versus stay at home. They're going to have to make some tough decisions about leaving a child at home that probably doesn't have the wherewithal to be at home, but they don't have any other alternative. And so, in a time like this, to use Esther's language or Mordecai's language, for a time just such as this, I think the church above everything else, we have to try to balance two concerns. As I told the lead team yesterday, I don't always have the luxury of just thinking practically and pragmatically. I have to also think theologically. And so in the days and weeks ahead, when life gets cramped up and shifted around, I think above all things, when most people are going to be running from what we know and what we don't know, I think it's a grand opportunity for the church to run toward the community. And for the local church to say to the community once again that when we were in a bad way, the God that we worship came running to us. That's what our theology says, friends. And that when we were in a bad way, and when we were gross and nasty and everything else and contagious in all manner of ways, God, seeing everything that he needs to see and could see at all times, decided that even that wasn't enough to keep him away from us. And so I think it's a grand opportunity for the local church to really step up and be the full-on presence of Jesus, teeth, hair, and eyeballs in a real way. And so here's the opportunity, as given permission from the lead team, for me to extend to you as a local church. I think most families are not going to travel during spring break now. And that's going to cramp some plans, and they're going to need a place for children to be. And so I would like for Christ Central Church to consider, as an offering to our community, a day camp for parents of elementary school and middle school children to come here from 7:30 in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I initially thought for a week. That's open. You saw the lead team, so you can have discussion with them about that. And we'll help them do their e-learning. We'll try to keep them from burning the church down. We'll go outside if weather's fit and have some games. We'll offer a lunch. Also, it wouldn't be a complete giveaway from the church because we feel like giving people dignity by asking them to help support this. So in other words, if your child came for any day, it would be $7 a day. We think that's a reasonable place to start. It might not cover all the costs, but that's not really the point. We want to help defer some of the cost. And so that's the opportunity that I think will emerge, and it will be an opportunity for the local church to say that above all things, God sees you, God's with you, and this is a real tangible way that the good news can be extended so parents can have one less thing that has to bring anxiety and burden to them when it's already cramping up all of our style and life anyway. Now, what I also advanced to the lead team was that would be about 50 kids. You know what 50 kids requires? Other than crash helmets and fire extinguishers, they require volunteers. And I recognize that some of you still have jobs to do, but some of you don't. We would, as the lead team, love to have conversation with you if you feel like you have margin and would like to participate in something like this on any day, at any point. We'd like to have conversation with you about that. As unfortunately, time is not on our side. And so if we're going to do this, we need to be able to get at least a rough outline of a plan together and begin to put that in practice, because most schools stop on Wednesday of this week. And so we need to figure out how we're going to communicate that, what we're going to communicate, and on and on and on and on. So it's fluid, but if you would like to join your church and extend hope into the community and help your community in this particular way, we would love to have conversation with you. Also, and Marty kind of alluded to it, I think there's another opportunity for the church. Number one, many, as you noticed today, many people that we normally see, because their station in life, because of other medical concerns that they have in the past, or because they fall into the group that is most susceptible for what's going on with this virus right now, they've stayed at home. And if we're not careful, even people we love will be out of sight, and they'll also feel like they're out of mind. And so here's a grand ministry opportunity for you, friends. Look around, get your directory out, and just make some phone calls during the week. Call people you don't see. Call part of your 8 to 15. And not all of your 8 to 15s in the church, but make phone calls. Text them. And as a ministry from the church, I think is an opportunity that will arise. Some people that live in assisted living facilities, they'll be basically quarantined to their place, or other people just won't want to leave their house. And so there'll be an opportunity for the church to say, hey, look, if you want, phone in your grocery order to us. We'll order it online. We'll go pick it up for you. And after a particular time in the day, we'll deliver it to you. Now, again, that takes volunteers, and that would be something that we have to work out the logistics on. But it's another way for the church to be really in ministry to a segment of the population that is potentially the most affected by what's happening in the community, but also potentially in most need of the good news of the gospel through real, everyday, practical grace. And so those are some opportunities that the lead team members that were here this morning, I would love for you, if you feel comfortable, to have conversations with them about. You can have conversations with me about it. And at the end of the day, if you don't pursue either one of those, take your 8 to 15 card. If you don't have an 8 to 15 card, they're right outside the door on the table on the right if you go out. Take your 8 to 15 card and do everything that you can to stay connected with your 8 to 15. Because the only way you make it through something like this is together, not by yourself. And your 8 to 15 are looking for the good news of the gospel to show up to them. And who knows, when most people might be kind of afraid to come to the local church, what you might see is if the church engages with its 8 to 15 individually, that when this blows over, the church might actually explode in the community, because your 8 to 15 said, those people are weird in a different sort of way. They love me when everybody else pulled the blinds, pulled up the ladder, told no entrance, do not come around. They love me anyway as best they could. And so who knows what could happen if the church in this particular time, a time just such as this, actually begins to take some risk, to extend grace, and to leave the rest into God's hands. So normally from that, we would be receiving an offering. But this morning we aren't going to do that. We aren't going to do that for the next few days. The offering plates are stationed at each of the exit doors. If you brought it in your envelope, the envelopes are in the back of the chair. If you would like to do that, put that in the envelope at the end of the service today. And this is vital you don't forget, because I don't want to have to pull the fire alarm to make you stay long enough to get it, okay? But at the end of the service today, please make sure that you drop your offering in, and that includes the Dollar Club. So you'll remember last week we began something called the Dollar Club, and we're harnessing the power of an individual buck. If you have a dollar that you would like to put into there, what we'll do is combine all those dollars. Last week was about $200, and you'll find opportunities in the coming days to extend hope to people through your church, through the Dollar Club. And if you would like to be able to continue that today, then drop those in the plates on the way. As Tim said, you can do that online as well, or you can mail it in, 409 West Grand Avenue. Rain, sleet, or snow, or coronavirus, the mail still comes, I hope. And so you can send that in too if you forgot your pocketbook or would like to send something later in the week. So would you join me as we pray over the emerging opportunities and our offering